Hi, this is Under the Real. You're watching Tru School Sports.
Yeah, man. What do you think about Edgar Berlanga?
I like Edgar Berlanga. I really want to see him go past the first rounds soon. I actually want to see him try to go past the first round. We've never seen his corner, so he got to see his corner. He got to get a few rounds in. It's not it's all flash and it's a cool record and stuff, but after a while, what's the point? You're not learning anything from these fights. And when he steps up against a guy closer to his level, he goes past the second, third round. This guy's gonna get discouraged. He's gonna be confused. He'll be like, "How is this guy still in there with me?" He might even gas out because he's never gone past the first round in a pro fight. Nerves, it's been proven that, when you're nervous, you get tired quicker. And, he's never been nervous in the ring. When he gets nervous in the ring for the first time, I wonder what's going to happen there.
Yeah, I think he'll be all right, man. I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. He seems like a mature young man. I don't think personally, like, if you watch the way he fights too, he's not like a Deontay Wilder where he's just going in there and throwing these big clubbing shots. Like, if you go back and just watch that knockout against Eric Moon, I mean, the way he set it up, dig into the body, pulling the front hand down, shooting the right hand over the top. Those were
very technical. He is very technical for a puncher. He actually has decent hand speed too for a guy at 168. I actually think the future fight at 168 will be him versus Ali Akhmedov.
That could be a good fight. I was telling my dad recently that if he actually becomes everything they say he is, let's say he becomes world champion, he could fight Canelo in like 2 or 3 years, and that'd be the biggest fight in boxing.
Definitely, Canelo, I think you said in your video, he hasn't really had a Puerto Rican rival. He had Cotto, but that was a small Cotto out of his prime. And to be fair to Canelo, though, I remember watching LDBC's predictions and neutral boxing channel's predictions, and I'd say 9 out of 10 of them were picking Miguel Cotto to win that fight. And I do not like Canelo, but I give him credit for that win because no one was picking Canelo to win that fight. Well, there were people, but not as many as they seem. I was picking Canelo, and I feel like there were people picking Canelo, but not as many as there would be if he fought, say, like a Colin Smith or something. No, he was a slight favorite in betting, but I feel like when it comes to the YouTube predictions, I think he was a slight underdog actually.
Oh yeah, a lot of people were predicting Cotto. I was picking Cotto, but I was being biased. To be honest with you, I was being biased because I'm Puerto Rican.
And Cotto was looking good, and he was looking good in his last few fights because of Freddie Roach. But who did he fight? He fought Sergio Martinez with no knee, and I love Sergio. And he was my favorite. He was my second favorite fighter behind Triple G. I've always been a huge Sergio fan. But I said after that Martin Murray fight, he has no chance to beat Miguel Cotto. I don't care, how much damage he's taken, Miguel Cotto, against Margarito and Floyd and all of them. He has no chance against Miguel Cotto. And then he fought Delvin Rodriguez before that. They're making this big deal over Delvin Rodriguez.
Yeah, that was the same card that Terrence Carr fought Andre Klimov on the undercard.
Yeah, that was in Florida, I think, Orlando, right?
Yeah, the Amway Center with the Magic play.
Yeah. I was like 8, so I couldn't. I didn't go, but if that happened now, I would 100%. And who else did he fight? He fought he fought Gil, and they gave Cotto all the credit for beating Gil, but gave Triple G no credit who beat him before Cotto did, more impressively.
I mean, Triple G couldn't buy any credit back in those days.
No, he couldn't. Martin Murray win was a great win. Matthew Macklin win was a great win in my opinion. He didn't have like any marquee one giant win, but he had a bunch of solid, decent wins.
Yeah, it wasn't his fault. It wasn't his fault. They didn't want no smoke.
And middleweight was weak too. They had Peter Quillen, and that's it. And Peter Quillen didn't want to fight him.
I remember Peter Quillen vacated the belt to induct Korboff, and he's like, "Yeah, I couldn't fight Korboff because my son was being born." And by the way, I don't hate Peter Quillen. I love Peter Quillen. I met him. He's nice, one of the nicest guys in the world, but he didn't want no smoke.
He didn't. And if Andy Lee beat Billy Joe Saunders, I think Triple G would have been undisputed because Andy Lee wanted to fight Triple G. I heard, and Billy Joe said if he's not gonna fight Triple G, and that's what happened. He squeaked out a win versus Andy Lee, and then fought no ones after that. He fought Akavov. He fought who did he fight right after beating Andy Lee? David Lemieux he fought, but
David Lemieux, Akavov.
And now recently he fought that guy from Argentina. I thought he was losing that fight.
He almost lost to Akavov. He looked trash.
I thought he lost to Akavov. I had Akavov winning that fight. I think I had a 7-5 or 8-4.
Yeah, I think I might have had 7-5 myself. I just remember watching the fight thinking, man, Billy Joe Saunders looks like trash.
And he looked out of shape too.
Yeah, he was. He was very out of shape. I am, man.
What else? What other fights are coming up right now?
We
There's
got
Chris Colbert versus Jaime Arboleda.
yeah. I don't know much about Jaime Arboleda. You know anything about him?
He fought Jason Velez and got a controversial split decision against him.
Oh, damn. Then
And I think he got dropped.
I don't want to use a triangle theory, but like, man, Chris Colbert sounds like Chris Colbert is gonna look pretty good against him and beat him.
Chris Colbert is a good fighter. I like Chris Colbert. From Brooklyn, which is awesome because I'm from Brooklyn. I'm gonna root for him, and I actually like his style. He doesn't have the most power. He hits harder than his record suggests. He doesn't hit that hard, but he is a very good speed, good boxing ability. I got him winning that fight wide UD.
He's going. His punching power. He's still going into his body, so his punching power is gonna get better with time. I've been watching Chris Colbert since he fought Titus Williams on the Deontay Wilder-Stavern undercard, the rematch undercard. I interviewed him. Yeah, that was a fight that most people didn't see because I don't think it was televised. But man, he looked like $1 million that night. And I said, man, this kid's something. He's gonna be something.
Great. I see pops in the messages in the chat saying Thurman is thirsting for Pac-Man and a big payday.
Yeah, man, he called him a hippity hoppity speedy little punk.
Yeah, I heard about that. I'm actually gonna get an interview with Keith Thurman soon because he's sometime in August because I have a connection. Someone who works with my parents met him and told him about my channel, and I'm going up to the Clearwater area soon. So I really am excited for that interview with Keith Thurman. It's gonna be interesting too, knowing all the statements he said.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I'm looking forward to watching that.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, because I was gonna bring that up because I remember on Instagram you posted one time that you were on a video call with Thurman. So I was gonna ask you, are you gonna interview Thurman?
100. That's my goal. That's my goal. And it's interesting because the Thurman Pacquiao rematch I actually think is actually a very intriguing fight because Thurman kind of figured Pacquiao out a little bit in the second half of that fight. And Pacquiao's just getting older. Thurman seems like he really wants that rematch. I think the rematch is actually a 50-50 fight.
Yeah, I mean, whenever he was able to slow down the pace. He was having a lot of success against Pacquiao.
Mm-hmm. And, Pacquiao felt those shots. Pacquiao respected Thurman's power, which is not a thing that many people could say because, when Pacquiao fought AB, he had no respect for AB's power. When he fought Vargas, he had no respect for Vargas's power. When he fought Bradley, he had a little bit of respect for his power, but not that much, especially the first fight. So
and by the third fight, all respect by that third fight, all respect was out the window.
But he did buzz Pacquiao. That was a great fight, the third fight. I think it was the 8th round. He buzzed Pacquiao.
Third fight pissed me off. I thought like if Bradley was ever going to get it done against Pacquiao, that was going to be the fight to do it.
I was picking Bradley to win the third fight. That was the only time I picked Bradley in the 3 fights.
I did too.
I think the second fight was the closest and my favorite personally.
And the second fight was pretty good.
But I think Bradley looked good in the third fight. I just think Pacquiao looked better. Bradley looked good. And I think that Bradley, if fought Pacquiao, could have beaten some of the top welterweights still.
I think, a lot of people say that he wouldn't have beaten Amir Khan because, they were supposed to fight. I think he would have beat Amir Khan.
I think he would have. Because look at Lamont Peterson. He's bootlegged Tim Bradley. He fights the way Bradley would have fought, the inside, landing some nice shots. And even though many people thought Khan won and the point deductions and, the slip, which should have been a knockdown, a lot of BS happened in that fight. If Lamont Peterson could have that much success, you really think Tim Bradley can't?
Yeah, you can't write out Tim Bradley. This guy's a champion.
One of the most. I think if he beat Manny Pacquiao, I think he would have been probably my number 1 pound-for-pound fighter. His resume was so stacked.
It is, man. I wish we would have had a chance to see him fight like some of the guys across the street, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. I really wanted to see him fight Floyd. I thought I would have picked Floyd to win, but it would have been a cool fight.
Yeah, that would have been a good one because Floyd never, like, I remember who was it? The LDBC made a funny video. I forgot who it was in the LDBC. I think it was many years ago. It was blood boxing, blood. Blood.
Oh, no, yeah. Not blue blood.
No, not blue blood. Not blue blood. Blood boxing. There's a guy named Blood Boxing. Yeah, I used to watch blood boxing because sometimes he puts out good videos.
I feel like he wasn't that bad, blood boxing. I feel like he was more like neutral compared to the rest of the.
Well, this is like 5 years ago. He's crazy now, but
of course
he made a video about Floyd Mayweather, and he was like, yeah, Floyd never fought any of the prime black fighters, and I'm like, well, that's kind of. I heard that. I'm like, well, that's kind of racist. Then I thought about it. I said, yo, he's kind of telling the truth.
I feel like the only ones he fought were Zab Judah, and he got knocked down against Zab, but he did beat him. That's a solid win, even though I think Judah was coming off losing to Valdemir. And the only other one he fought was DeMarcus Corley.
Yeah, but I mean, Judah was coming off that loss to Valdemir, and people weren't even taking that fight seriously when he made the fight. Corley
He has like 30 losses now.
It was cool. Corley was a cool fight.
This fight could have been one of the most boring fights in history, but just off of who would have won the fight, I always kind of wanted to see him fight Lara.
I mean, I could see why, but I'm not really I'm not losing any sleep over that one.
But I'm more intrigued in who would have won that fight and how it would have played out, not the entertaining part.
Yeah. Because why? Because Lara's a southpaw and he's bigger and he's got the technical skills.
He looked great against Trout. I remember picking Trout to beat Lara, and Lara completely schooled Austin Trout.
Yes. Sometimes I forget how good Lara was at one point.
He was great. I thought he beat Canelo.
He was fantastic. He was exceptional at one point in time. And then after the Canelo fight, his marquee value got a little bit higher, and he pretty much just fought whoever. He's fighting the Yan Zevics and the Yuri Formans and all these nobodies, and he just got comfortable.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Adrian Granados, and you're watching Tru School Sports.